Is Makeover Monday. That's the theme, of course. Today we are going to show you how to get the hair color you really want when you visit your hairstylist. Joining us to share her expert advice is Tara Abramowicz, hairstylist at Salon 241 Northampton and Redken Artist. Good to have you here, Tara.
Thank you.
So now hair color can go wrong. You leave the salon, you're not so happy with your hair color. What is the reason that this happens typically?
You know, I think a lot of times people come into the salon, and I actually specialize in color, and I think somebody will come in and they'll say, okay, it's the colorist that's not doing this right. And generally, it's actually the communication that's wrong. So somebody will come in and they'll say, I want brunette hair and I want there to be maybe red highlights. And the problem is it's so vague that sometimes, you know, I might have one vision in my head and somebody else might have a different vision in theirs. So then when they leave, because the communication barrier was so huge, they'll have a completely different look than what
and
they
they're
were
not
planning
happy.
on. Exactly.
Or they rip out a picture from a magazine and say, I want to look like this, and then they don't really specify what it is they like about it.
Exactly.
So we're going to look at some celebrity pictures today, and you can tell us what people should ask for. So first we're looking at Nicole Kidman.
So the thing is that's super important to know about this picture is that there's more than one tone going on. Somebody might say, I want my hair to be copper, like Nicole Kidman's, which is great. Copper is a fantastic word, very literal, but if you notice, there's actually a lot of yellow tones in that picture. And so the most important part when you bring a picture is to tell your stylist what you like about the picture. Okay, so I like how it looks a bit sunny through the mid-shaft of her hair. You know, I like how her roots look a bit darker. So it's important to point out what you do like about the picture, and also to use literal terms such as, like, something colorists hate to hear is strawberry blonde. Like, what strawberry do you know looks blonde? They're red.
They're red. They're pretty red.
It's very vague, so you can end up with many different degrees of what strawberry blonde might be.
Okay.
Yeah, use literal words.
Literal words. And now we're going to move on to blonde, which everyone likes to go for in the spring, summer. So we'll take a look at CARRIE Underwood. Tell us what should people ask for if they want this look?
Well, a lot of times somebody will call the salon and they'll book for a highlight, and they'll sit down in my chair and they say, I want highlights and I want to look like this, and they'll show me a picture of CARRIE Underwood. And I have to be totally frank here, when a client tells you how to do their hair before you've made that decision as a colorist, you're almost setting yourself up for not liking what you have. So CARRIE Underwood has more than just highlights going on here. She does have what we might call a glaze. She's also got her base color has been brightened up just a bit. So it's important to make sure that you allow your colorist to make the choice of what she's going to do when you ask for a picture of something.
Right, because obviously we can't just call up CARRIE Underwood and say, hey CARRIE, what did you get done to your hair? Or talk to her stylist. Wouldn't that be nice? Would love that. Okay, now we're going to look at a different shade, completely different, more of the brunette look. But there's a lot going on with her hair, but to me, I would just think, oh, she's a brunette.
Right, so in the picture of Eva Longoria, the thing is, somebody will look at this and say, ooh, a rich brown, and expect it to literally just be one color. There is nothing about this hair color that's one shade. If you notice, she does have like a burgundy or a Merlot colored highlight around her face. Now, if you were to tell a stylist, I want burgundy colored highlights, you could end up with very streaky highlights. You need to say words such as subtle, face framing. I'd like them to be blendable and almost so you don't know they're there. Those things are very important to point out to your stylist, along with words like burgundy is burgundy. When you say something like auburn, which again is vague, auburn could be looked at as a copper brown. Auburn could be a red violet. Auburn is too vague, so you have to be super literal.
And all these subtle little things make a difference. I mean, obviously that one little streak of that burgundy or red in her hair is really making her face pop. So these little subtle things make a difference. Now we know how to ask for hair color when we go to our stylist. Thank you, Tara, for being here.
You're very, very welcome.
It's great to have you. And for these tips and more, you can always visit us online anytime at mymassappeal.com.